This week in Destiny, we got our first full look at the upcoming Season 13, Season of the Chosen in Destiny 2. That began earlier this week when a trailer went live showing off a bit of the story of what's going to be happening starting next week, February 9th, 2021, and some of the things we'll be getting engaged with when that content goes live. Now, of course, we had a video come out earlier this week covering everything we learned about the trailer, the sneak peeks at new repeatable content like the Battlegrounds activity, and even a schedule of content for what's going to be happening when Season 13 starts next week. So if you missed out on any of that stuff, we'll have a link to our video covering it down in the description box below. But of course, today is February 4th, the last Thursday before Season 13 begins. And of course, that means it's time for this week's issue of the Bungie Weekly blog, This Week at Bungie. And this week, it is all about the rewards. Because this week, Bungie unveils some of the rewards you're going to be chasing through Nightfalls, Ordeals, Grandmasters, Trials, and even more. Let's go ahead and dive on into it. First up, in a section titled Spoils of War, we get to learn a bit more about some of the Adept Nightfall weapons that are gonna start becoming available next week. Now, for those who don't remember, we're getting 3 classic Vanguard Destiny 1 weapons coming back in the Swarm Legendary Machine Gun, the Palindrome Legendary Hand Cannon, and of course, the Shadow Price Legendary Auto Rifle. 3 absolutely storied weapons for Guardians of Old. And these, of course, will be showing up in Destiny 2 as rewards for completing Ordeal Nightfalls. Bungie states that these weapons will have a chance to drop at the end of the activity depending on your metal, either platinum, gold, or etc., and of course the difficulty of the activity that you're running. Master difficulty will of course give you the highest chance at a drop of the base versions of these weapons. Again, there's going to be normal versions of these weapons and then adept versions, just like there is in Trials. Adept difficulty weapons have a chance to drop at the end of a Grandmaster Nightfall when those go live later in the season. Drop chances will also be dependent upon the medal that you receive when you complete the strike. Slay enough champions to hit platinum and you will have a high chance at an adept weapon. Meaning when the season starts next week, you're going to have access to some of the base versions of these guns right away by farming up Nightfalls, but the Adept versions will become available later in the season. Now, we also know there's going to be Adept mods available on these Vanguard Nightfall weapons as well. And of course, some of those Adept mods you'll be able to earn by playing Trials, but we'll be covering that in just a little bit. Next up, we've also got a new pursuit weapon getting ready to drop with Season 13 as well. This time around, it's going to be a brand new breach grenade launcher titled Salvager's Salvo. And just like the pursuit weapon for Season 12, you'll be able to earn this weapon by completing your choice of quest. You can either choose between Strikes, Crucible, or Gambit to earn the new breach-loaded grenade launcher. And then once you've gotten the weapon, of course, then you'll be able to earn up to 3 different ornaments from it with additional quests picked up from Zavala, Lord Shaxx, and the Drifter. Overall, I kind of like the way they're doing pursuit weapons now. I still miss the pinnacles of old, but I love the system they've got in place that basically allows you to pick the ritual activity you want to farm, whether it be Gambit or Strikes or Crucible, and just go ham in that game mode. Allowing people to play whatever they want in order to pursue specific rewards, I think, is a great direction for this game to be going in. Good stuff. But if you're looking for some more exclusive rewards, well, don't worry. Bungie has got you covered with Season of the Chosen because we've got some all new Trials gear on the way. Bungie's already teased the new incoming Trial stuff a bunch. We got to see some of the armor last week, and in the trailer earlier this week, we got to see some brand new Trials weapons on display. And Bungie gives us a sneak peek at some of those Trials weapons right here. Looks like we've got a brand new pulse rifle, hand cannon, and Trials sword on the way. And for the sword, it looks like it's going to be one of the types that's similar to the Boltcaster from back in D1, where the heavy attack is going to shoot a projectile towards enemies. Additionally, we get another shot of the incoming Trials armor that you'll be able to start earning next Friday on February 12th. And I gotta say, overall, I think it all looks pretty darn good. And of course, as is the case with other Trials weapons, each weapon will also have an Adept version that comes with special mods, which of course Bungie has covered in previous TWABs, as well as a special shader that can be applied to any Adept weapon, even the ones from the Grandmaster Nightfall. Remember I said a little bit ago, you're going to be able to take the Adept weapons you earn from Grandmaster Nightfalls and put some of the Adept mods you can get from Trials on them. That's really cool. For the first week of Trials, armor and Adept mods will be in the Flawless chest. The second week is when you'll have your first chance of the season to grab an adept weapon. And along with these new weapons and armor, Trials has some new cosmetic rewards to show off as well. The Ghost Shell drop chance increases as you win matches and increases when you hit the 3, 5, and 7 wins and flawless milestones each week. The Ship and the Sparrow drop chances will increase every time you go flawless, giving you further incentive to actually go flawless after you've gotten your adept stuff. And then we get a sneak peek at the new Gilded Ghost Shell, the Ship, and of course the incoming Sparrow for Trials of Osiris. And again, the design of this stuff I think is really good looking. And of course, this is just a small snippet of some of the stuff that's going to be returning to the loot pool and being added to the loot pool when Season 13 comes out. I think there's like 25 legendary weapons being added to the overall world loot pool. Some of which we got to see in the trailer earlier this week and are also shown off in some pictures here. Either way, getting new gear is always something really exciting. But something that can almost be equally as exciting is when old gear gets revamped in a great way. There is one group of exotic armor pieces that have really kind of been lackluster even since their introduction. The Aeon Cult gear. For the longest time, people have been calling for buffs to that armor set because there's really not too much of a reason to use them. Well, Bungie has heard your cries, and for the fans of the Cult of Aeon out there, the Aeon suite of exotics are getting some pretty major changes with Season 13. And as usual, Bungie gave us some of the goals they were trying to achieve when they made these changes. They want to create role-based mechanics that reward you for doing the things that your role is supposed to be good at. They want to create mechanics that reward other players on your fire team when you fulfill your role. And they want to give your fire team incentive for each player to take on a different role. Essentially pushing for that team-based cohesion that is sometimes, well, we'll say lacking when it comes to fire teams in D2. So, instead of having a single monolithic exotic perk to handle this, Bungie opted to take a page out of the Armor 2.0 book and give the Aeon Cult exotics their own unique mod socket and mods, which are all unlocked as soon as you acquire the exotic, and each of which is tied to one of the different Aeon Cult roles. These mods are identical across the exotics for all 3 classes, so you can choose any role regardless of what class or subclass you're playing. The 3 Aeon Cult mods and their associated mechanics are as follows. First up, we've got the Sect of Force. You specialize in punishing powerful combatants before they can harm your allies. Rapid precision hits with a weapon temporarily increase your reload speed and weapon swap speed. And when you stun a champion or defeat a boss or mini-boss, your nearby fire team members gain a burst of grenade and melee energy. Aeon Cult allies who do not have the Sect of Force role equipped also gain a burst of super energy. Then we've got the Sect of Insight. This specializes in empowering your allies and keeping them well supplied. Successive precision weapon takedowns have a chance to drop an orb of power for your allies. And when you use a finisher on an elite, you generate special ammo for your fire team. When you use a finisher on a boss or a mini-boss, you generate heavy ammo for your fire team. Nearby Aeon Cult allies who do not have the Sect of Insight role equipped also gain a bonus to weapon damage for a short time. That is going to be really, really helpful. Basically, with this, anytime you see a major or ultra, always go for a finisher on them so you can spawn heavy. That's pretty darn good. Then finally, we've got the Sect of Vigor. This specializes in keeping your allies in the fight. You gain class ability energy as your allies die. You gain full class ability energy when you resurrect an ally. And when you cast your super, nearby allies gain an instant burst of healing. Aeon Cult allies who do not have the Sect of Vigor role equipped also gain an overshield. Each of these mods has one perk that focuses on the user and one perk that grants benefit to their allies. Additionally, the second perk includes an extra benefit for anyone in your fire team that has not chosen the same role. So for maximum efficiency, each member of the 3-player fire team should choose a different mod to reap the most benefits. And honestly, I gotta say, that's a pretty cool way to kind of revamp the old Aeon Cult gear without kind of getting rid of the point of it. The point of it was always that the more people are equipped with those things, especially with different classes and whatnot, the more buffs you are getting and you're giving to your fire team. And I think this is probably a better way to do it. Can't wait to test out how big some of these buffs are going to be in actual in-game content when Season of the Chosen goes live next week. But alright, that's not the only bit of exotic gear we have to talk about. Because next up, we've got some returning exotic catalysts. Catalysts for the following weapons have had their drop sources and objectives updated to not be associated with vaulted content. This includes the Bad Juju, Izanagi's Burden, Sleeper Simulant, the Huckleberry, Worldline Zero, Polaris Lance, Telesto, the Legend of Acreus, and Skyburner's Oath. Meaning you're actually going to be able to earn those catalysts when Season 13 goes live next week. Now, the catalysts for Whisper of the Worm and Outbreak Perfected are still unobtainable for anyone who hasn't already earned them, and will be added in a future update. Very happy to hear about that kind of stuff. There's still a few exotics on that list that I need to get the catalyst for. Namely the Worldline Zero, because good lord, that one was a little ridiculous. Alright, finally we've got some new Prime Gaming rewards for those of you out there with an Amazon and a Twitch Prime account. If you've linked your Prime Gaming account up to your Bungie account, you'll have some rewards awaiting you at Amanda Holiday. This time around, they are the Graviton Lance, the Carina Nebula Exotic Weapon Ornament, the Cosmos Shell Exotic Ghost Shell, and the Avalon Courser Legendary Sparrow. Generally, Bungie updates these Prime rewards every month, so if you've got Amazon and Twitch Prime, it's definitely worthwhile to go ahead and link those up and start reaping the free benefits. But alright, that's pretty much it for the biggest bits of news contained in this week's issue of the Bungie Weekly blog, This Week at Bungie. Really interesting stuff there. Season 13 is just a hop, skip, and a jump away. I hope you guys have burned through all of your Crucible tokens. So as you might remember, those are going to be going away next week. Cannot wait to learn more about everything we're going to be doing in Season of the Chosen. Of course, we'll be covering all of that live here on the channel. Alright, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest stuff we're putting out. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.